Good morning, Maci. How are you doing
Hello.
today?
I'm good. How are you?
Absolutely fantastic. I got to tell you right from the very beginning, I was the other side of the relationship I was the teen father. And so that's why I have
Oh, okay.
always loved MTV's Teen Mom, because I live vicariously through you guys. And I keep seeing the most brilliant things about your continued life, that even though we were sharply judged as teenagers, as adults, you're leaders.
I really appreciate that. Thank you.
And to see you guys all coming together on the next chapter, I love this because, if you're not on the front page of the newspaper, well, we don't think about it. But I love the way that MTV continues this story forward.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to all of us being on the same show and a part of the same cast. I feel like even though some of us have been doing this for a really long time, just because your kids get older, just because I'm not a teenager anymore, it doesn't mean like the struggles or the challenges aren't there. It's just they're just different. And some of the girls who are younger than me and are they saw babies in diapers.
Yeah.
I feel like with all of us joining together, everyone really brings something to the table, and it gives our audience a better opportunity to have someone to relate to.
Maci, there's going to come a time, and I might as well just bring it out right now, that it's going to be MTV's Teen Mom Grandma. I mean, because your kids are going to have kids, and because you've grown up right here in front of us, we're going to want to see that.
If that happens, that will be crazy. I don't think it's too far-fetched, but that will be wild.
So how has everything changed between everybody that's been a part of this? Because, we all go through our evolutions. We've gone through COVID. We've seen, I don't even want to send my kids to school anymore.
Yeah, it's definitely a crazy time we are living in. I think being on the show and like living our life so publicly, it takes a special kind of courage and bravery. And I think us girls, it's kind of like a sisterhood bond that we have, because, even as different as our circumstances or experiences are, we are the only ones that really know what it's like to do this, to just live life so publicly. So I feel like we support each other through a lot of things on camera and off.
What is it like for you to do that? Because, being on the radio for 43 years and stuff like that, listeners will come up to me and say, you said this, and 99.9% of the time, I have no clue what they're even talking about. So when you're on that camera all the time, do you go through the same thing?
Yeah, sometimes, especially like you said, for it to be, it's 2022, so my oldest son is turning 14 next month, so I've been doing this a while. I think like 14 years almost, 15 years. At this point, yeah, sometimes I'm like, I need a reminder. I don't remember that, or I'm not sure. But honestly, most of the time, I do, in fact, remember what they're talking about, or remember doing something or saying something. But yeah, sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm by no means old, but I'm not a teenager anymore.
Speaking of those teenage years, when you were a teenager, I'm sure smartphones were just starting to happen and stuff like that. But nowadays it's TikTok, it's making your own videos. And how do you keep the attention of your 14-year-old?
Honestly, I wouldn't call him shy, but he's a very, likes to be at home, enjoys actually hanging out with his family or his brothers and sister. So it's not too difficult, but I also, like any apps that he has, him and I, my son and myself, we will go through and we'll compare our screen time. And it's kind of turned into like a competition of who can have less screen time. And so I figured out that little trick with him. Like if I make it a competition, then I'm not the butthead parent.
Talking reality, and I did admit to you that I was a teen father. One of the things that I really did growing up into fatherhood and stuff like that was when my daughter became a teenager, it was instantly protect yourself. And then when my grandchildren came into the world, it was the same exact thing. Do you find yourself being that kind of leader as well?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like I do relate to that a lot. It's interesting because my parents were also teen parents, and they're actually still married today. But I feel like me and my parents had a very open relationship, and it wasn't that I couldn't talk to my mom about, birth control. It was just a matter of timing.
Yeah.
I should have had the birth control talk, and honestly, she probably should have too, a little sooner. But it's one of those. I try not to get like boring to Bentley and like, oh well, this is what I did. Don't do that. This is this is hard, and I could have went a different route because he doesn't care about that stuff. He's 14. He's like, Mom, you're stop talking. Like I don't care about this. So I do try to find like creative ways, but for me and my kids, I feel like open conversation, open dialogue, a safe space to talk about anything and everything is really key. And I've started that with all of my kids since they could talk. So I do feel like for now, I feel pretty good about the decisions that Bentley has to make every day and that might make in the future. But it's still terrifying. I don't want to look back at a few years and be like, you remember that time you said you felt comfortable with, with this, but, no, I do find myself, doing that as well.
One thing that you've never been afraid of is talking about the experience. And that's what I love about the fact that you took your experiences in life and you put it in book form. I wasn't born bulletproof. This is a book that still needs to be read even today.
Yeah. Writing that book, one of the things as people were watching me grow up and watching me be a young parent and a parent today, I feel like I constantly heard people say, you make it look so easy. You're so strong, this and that and the other. And I'm like, is that maybe externally that's what I look like? Because most of the time on the inside, I was freaking out because I didn't know what I was doing. But I just felt like it was a good book to write for anybody at any age, but especially for young people and young adults, because I think sometimes we do get caught up in, what people are showing us or what people are saying, and there's really no like meat on the bone. So it's kind of one of those, it may look like this, but here's how I knew to make this decision, because actually, prior to that, I had made a different decision and it didn't work out. So I just felt like it was a good book for people to relate to, and it's also got a good sense of humor about it too.
Yeah. One of your best decisions, Taylor. I mean, let's give him kudos. I grew up with a stepfather that I just called Dad. In other words, it doesn't matter. Step. I don't believe in that. But Taylor has been there as well for you.
Oh, definitely. I'm not sure what I did to deserve him or what he did to deserve me, but no, he is. He's fantastic, and I mean, a super good dad, very hands-on, has always loved and supported Bentley, who is not biologically his, but he truly has raised him. And honestly, in our house, we don't really say step or half or anything like that either, because we're just family. This is just our family.
We're just real people.
No.
We're just real people.
Yeah. Who happen to just live in the same house and get on each other's nerves and laugh. But no, Taylor's great. He's really great.
MTV's Teen Mom, The Next Chapter. Congratulations on this show. I want to see more of this, and I really am looking forward to seeing the grandmother version of this show in about, I'm hoping, maybe 25 or 30 years.
Sounds good. Thank you.
You come back to this show anytime in the future, Maci. The door is always going to be open for you, okay?
Thank you so much.
All right. Be brilliant today.
Thank you.